Hello and welcome to my channel. In today's video I'm going to demonstrate a really exciting piece of kit and some of the fun things you can do with it. A company named Xtool reached out to me. They are a company specialising in really interesting craft technology such as CO2 lasers and diode lasers. But what they sent me is more relevant to my business and its practices. Xtool have sent me the 3-in-1 heat press to review, and so far I just love it. If you're new to my channel, I run an embroidery business from my home, and this YouTube channel focuses on running an online business, and occasionally we also look at crafty new technology that might make running that business a bit easier. Xtool have included me in the launch of their latest product, the 3-in-1 heat press, which is now available on their website. I'm going to go over the key features of the product. I'll talk about what I like and what I dislike. And if at the end of watching this video you think that this might be the heat press for you, then there is a link down in the description that will take you directly to Xtool's website. I'd really appreciate it if you did want to find out more, that you did use the link down in the description, because it lets the people at Xtool know that you are going to their website after watching this video. And then if you do choose to purchase anything, I will receive a small commission for my efforts. I believe the link down below takes you to the USA's version of the website, but at the top of the screen there will be a banner that will take you to your country's version of the website if you live outside of the USA, and then you'll see all of the information in your own currency. In this video, we will be addressing, is the 3-in-1 heat press, also known as the H1, a suitable starter machine? We'll be looking at the versatile functions of the machine and also looking at how the heat press can benefit your business, particularly if that business is an embroidery business. I've been using the heat press for about a week and a half and I really got into it. Before the H1 arrived, I did already own a heat press. I bought it because it came with an abundance of attachments which I never actually used, and if I'm being completely honest, while the original heat press does the job, sort of, it struggles with holding its temperature consistently, and also Jordan actually electrocuted himself on it once. Luckily Jordan electrocutes himself all the time, so he took the joke like a champ. With the faults of my original heat press in the back of my mind, when the Xtool heat press arrived and I began perusing the manual, I was reassured to see that two of the key things Xtool mentions first are precise and steady temperature control and comprehensive safety protection. The heat press machines will automatically power off after 11 minutes of non-operation, so there's no more going out, getting halfway down the road and then worrying, did I turn the heat press off? Of course, you should always power down your heat press yourself when it is not in use. It's just nice to know that this additional safety function is built in. Xtool's mission is to help people turn their creativity into reality and have fun while doing it. And I genuinely had a lot of fun testing out this product. I think when you're making a video for somebody else, there's a certain desire to really put the tech through its paces. So I try to do lots of different experiments so I can confidently say whether the product is good or bad. The product was well packed and easy to assemble. I like the sleek white appearance, and the wood laminate on the handles gives it an almost ornamental look. What I also really like is the fact that it is a swing press with a good range of motion. You can move the source of the heat right out of the way when you're positioning garments on the press, so there's no danger of burning your knuckles. The long legs at the back of the swing press make it quite stable too. I can confidently add a bit of pressure when I'm pressing down without worrying about the press toppling over. Next, there is the mini press, which comes with a heat-proof dock to sit on. Both the heating elements of the H1 are wired and need to be plugged into an outlet, but the wire on the mini press is reasonably long, so you don't have to be right next to a plug socket to use it. And the third feature of this 3-in-1 heat press is, ta-da! The smart press detaches from the platform and it also has its own heat-proof dock to sit on. With this detachable heat plate being the third feature of the 3-in-1 press, I wasn't quite sure how I felt about it until I started really using the product, and it actually turned out to be the feature that I used the most. I just guess I found it more convenient to use because you just place it on top of things rather than press down. And I'll explain more on that later in the video. Xtool says what makes this 3-in-1 heat press unique compared to other heat presses is the use of the wireless flexi control system, also known as the smart control. All of your temperature and time adjustments are done using this smart control. The quality of it feels good too. I'm not sure if I'm saying the right word here, but there's tactile feedback when you turn those dials, and stuff like that is what I'm all about because it feels so satisfying. At the back of the control, there's also a little button that flicks between Fahrenheit and Celsius, which I'm a big fan of because it saves you from doing temperature conversions online. Using this device, you can precisely control the temperature in increments of 5 degrees from 100 degrees Celsius to 205 degrees Celsius. It's wireless and rechargeable and connects to the mini press and the smart press via a transponder. This is what the transponder looks like. You swap it between the mini press and the smart press depending on which device you want to use. It's easy enough to do, however, I would say the transponder is a little bit slippery. It sprung out of my hands a couple of times. But connecting the smart control to the transponder was very easy. In fact, there's no software to install anywhere with this heat press, and I was up and running and ready to start pressing things within half an hour after opening the box. Now, with that overview of the products complete, it's time to start pressing things. I really wanted to show how I use a heat press within my business and how using a heat press can benefit an embroidery business. You may recall from one of my earlier videos, I use a product called Thermogaza. It's a stabilizer supplied by Madeira thread which disintegrates under heat. When I've used this material in the past, I've used a very hot iron to remove the stabilizer, which is time consuming, so generally I don't use this stabilizer much. However, if you're looking for a solution for quickly removing embroidery patches from material without any cutting out and leaving a clean finish, then this stuff is the best thing since sliced bread and you are going to be amazed. This is how I started using the smart press as a handheld because it was the easiest way to use it for this process. To break down the stabilizer, not a lot of pressure was required, just a consistent even spread of heat. Using the smart control, you can either manually adjust the time and temperature to specific values, or the smart control comes with 4 built-in presets, which you can flick through by pressing the 3 dots. When the smart control was done counting down, it beeps, and then just look how easily the stabilizer falls away. This is awesome for anyone who until now has had to cut out patches by hand. And because the size of the smart press is 12 inches by 10 inches, this means I can press more than one patch at once, which is great news for if you're bulk making patches for your store, which I'm doing here. This also goes for applying the iron-on back into each patch. I use 2 sheets of baking paper for this. It's important to use baking paper because the iron-on glue doesn't stick to it, and you don't want that glue to stick to any of your nice equipment. The consistent distribution of heat ensures that the glue adheres evenly to each patch, and this is how I would use my Xtool Smart Press in the production process of bulk making patches. With a couple of iron-on patches now complete, I thought I would try out the mini press next. I used the mini press to apply the patches I just made to a denim jacket which I wear to events where I sell my embroidery work. I treat this jacket sort of like a wearable advert. The thermogazer patches are so thin and flexible that they adhere perfectly to the denim material with no corners or edges lifting up. Because of its small size, the mini press is a very versatile piece of equipment and can attach patches on awkwardly shaped textiles too, such as hats. By coincidence, before this heat press arrived, I'd started pressing my own hats using the original heat press I had, but as you can see, I had an issue with creasing. Even though the original press came with a dedicated hat press, the hat press never seemed to come down evenly, and more often than not, the uneven pressure resulted in these creases in the material which I struggled to get rid of. I decided to still use the hat platform while I experimented with attaching patches to hats using the mini press. I felt its rigid shape would help with the experiment, and I was able to attach my patches to the hat without causing any deep creases. My next experiment involved the sublimation process. Both the mini press and the smart press are capable of reaching a temperature of 205 degrees Celsius. However, although the mini press is entirely capable of sublimating, I would prefer to use the platform to perform this function, as it frees up my hands and ensures even pressure is applied. On the side of the X-Tool platform, there is a gauge which indicates how much pressure will be applied when you press. The pressure is adjusted by this dial on the back of the platform. While I was trying to think of interesting experiments to try with this heat press and blending embroidery with the heat press, I had the idea to try and create sublimation patches. I'm using 100% polyester thread from Madeira Threads, and I've printed out a few sublimation photos on my Sawgrass printer. I appreciate not everyone who embroiders owns a sublimation printer, and also not everyone who sublimates owns an embroidery machine, but for the very small percentage of us who just collect crafty gadgets, sublimating on embroidery gives you smooth gradient effects.
Wow. Oh, look at that. It's really hot, but that is awesome.
I pressed at 200 degrees Celsius for 40 seconds, and I also tried a design which included more fine detail. This process has really excited me, and I will make another video dedicated to this style of embroidery and print combination in the future. If you'd like to be informed when that video comes out, then please consider subscribing to my channel. I'm so pleased that X-Tool chose to send this item to me to review, because I had a lot of fun using it, and I also rediscovered materials like the thermogazer, which I previously kind of discounted because I couldn't make the materials work for me before, and now I can. So if you are seeking a beginner-friendly heat press that's also high quality and can meet the demands of a small business, I do recommend this product, and if you're interested in purchasing it for yourself, then please use my referral link down below. It will take you directly to X-Tool's website. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you found this video helpful, and I hope I'll see you next time. Bye bye.